The Owl House returns on March 19th, 2022, and with it is sure to be some of the craziest adventures Luce and the gang have embarked on yet. Rounding out season 2 with 11 new episodes, the final of the series, given that the third season was reduced to only 3 44-minute specials. Although we have yet to receive any descriptions in question, we do have titles for the episodes airing on March 19th and March 26th. Follies at the Coven Day Parade, followed by Elsewhere and Elsewhen. Titles that already have a few ideas cooking up in my head, pertaining to the direction of the story and how these episodes in particular could go down. As if season 2 hasn't been balls to the walls insanity already, I think things are going to get even crazier. After all, within 10 episodes, we've already had a season's worth of development, and I don't know many shows where the antagonists are literally handed the key to their victory this early. Before we jump right into the speculation, aside from the usual plea to like this video and subscribe to the channel, I just want to remind you guys that soon, we will be starting up a fan spotlight for our Owl House and Amphibia videos. Whether if you make art, cosplay, or memes, I'm aiming to have a little feature section in episode breakdowns and theories for the rest of the season. I'd like to give back to you all for making these shows a special experience, so for a chance to be featured, just follow and tag us on Twitter and Instagram at OstricVox and at Roundtable Vids. We likely won't see any tags without the follow due to notification settings. Don't know if it sounds like a clout grab, but that's how we're doing it. Now, there's one thing about Emperor Belos. It's that despite every wrench thrown into his plans by Luce, Ida, and other opposing forces, he's remained in control of the situation. When Ida was captured in her Owlbeast form, leading to Luce to come out swinging in a rescue mission, he walked away still getting exactly what he wanted, and managed to damage control Ida's intended execution by falling back on the proclaimed will of the Titan. When a newly elected Coven leader developed a rebellion to undermine his efforts, his underlings were able to detain said rebellion, save for Ida, and ensure said leader would still fulfill their role in everything that's to come. This crushing defeat for the Bats was ultimately fueled by a competitive nature that Belos has shaped throughout the Emperor's Coven. As we've seen, Kikimora and Hunter are already losing their sanity in their efforts to win Belos' approval. And given that Darius seemed irritated over Kikimora's arrival after Rain's defeat, I assume rivalrous dynamics are the norm for those working under Belos rather than a sense of camaraderie, though that's a conversation to be had later. Lastly, when Belos struggled to activate the portal to Earth, not only did Hunter return with the missing ingredient, Titan's blood, but it was delivered in the form of the original key. With all this in mind, I don't believe we're going to see the Emperor falter this season. It's going to end with him successfully pulling off the Day of Unity, serving as a chilling cliffhanger going into the 3 specials that'll conclude the Owl House as we know it. If anything, Belos and his forces will continue to remain one step ahead of their adversaries. Which takes us to Follies at the Coven Day Parade, our mid-season premiere that I believe will continue Belos' winning streak in an unforeseen way. This episode title conveys a bit of information about the contents of the episode, something that usually isn't the case for the Owl House. But the term Follies, coupled with the concept of what Coven Day likely is, alongside this established pattern of Belos keeping everything wrapped around his finger, all paints a pretty vivid picture in my head. There's 2 definitions of follies I want to focus on here. 1, a foolish act or idea, and 2, a theatrical review with glamorous female performers. Now, if you've been watching lore cartoons for a while, the word Follies may sound familiar due to an episode of Star vs. the Forces of Evil from 3 years ago, the first of season 4, titled The Butterfly Follies, which kind of played off both of these definitions, as there's a scene where Star, her father, and Marco witness a live performance that shares the same name with the episode title. A performance that absolutely takes the piss out of the Butterfly royal family, due to the numerous mistakes and controversial decisions they've made over the years, actions that have turned humans against them. And when making this connection between the 2 cartoons, I made another, as the Butterfly Follies in itself may remind you of an incredibly beloved episode of animation from a show that is one of Dana Terrace's favorites, Avatar: The Last Airbenders, The Ember Island Players, the penultimate episode of the series before the iconic Sozin's Comet, where Team Avatar witnesses a rendition of their epic journey through the lens of those who view them as the enemy. It's one of the more unique recap episodes in, well, all of television, with tons of hilarious moments that ultimately concludes with a downer ending. This play decides to showcase the Fire Nation's desired end for the story before it even comes to fruition, and that's Aang falling at the hands of Fire Lord Lord Ozai. It's that oh shit moment that really sets the stage for the biggest battles waiting around the corner. I believe Follies at the Coven Day Parade will be the Owl House's equivalent to the Ember Island players, although I don't think it'll solely function as a recap episode in the narrative. Coven Day will likely be a festival of sorts on the Boiling Isles for witches to celebrate the perceived purification of magic under Belos' system, an event that would also be a good time to give us another look at the Coven leaders. Perhaps introductions for those who haven't been given the spotlight. It's nuts, because Ida's Requiem flawlessly introduced 3 of the 9 leaders, so I don't think it's out of the question for this episode to introduce 3 more. On a different note, I believe the Coven Day Parade will also catch Ida's eye. After Rain's capture, we got a glimpse of Ida completely on edge, freaking out over Belos' plans. She's mellowed out after making a separate breakthrough with the Owl Beast. But I'm sure she's still anxious, she's still afraid, and she's getting desperate. These are the circumstances that can cause someone to act rather irrationally. And I have a hunch that Ida may not try to defeat Belos physically, as she knows his entire crew overpowers anything that she can throw at them, but rather try to dethrone him in the public image. I believe Ida's goal at the Coven Day Parade will be trying to expose Belos and his mysterious spell, instilling distrust and resistance onto the witches of the Boiling Isles, only for Belos to once again maintain control and stay one step ahead of everyone. With the Follies in question, the Coven Day Parade may have a special performance, one that enacts the tale of Emperor Belos and the significant events of the series thus far. These Follies would depict the Bad Girls Coven in an antagonistic light, something that would paint Ida and Luz's various encounters with Belos and his forces as selfish, as if they're only making things worse. After all, as far as the public knows, Belos let Ida go as a free witch, only for Ida to turn around and take part in a rebellion to sabotage the Day of Unity and later assault soldiers during their mission to Eclipse Lake. This is also where I think jaws will drop for viewers at home, as his performance can be very well followed up on with the unexpected. Belos coming forward to his people and sharing a prettied up version of his plans for the Day of Unity, and the spell that will require the members of every coven and their leaders, giving the audience new insight into this fateful day as well. Who would want to help our heroes oppose Belos once he makes the Day of Unity sound like an amazing opportunity for witches everywhere, masking the truth of any negative consequences or true intentions? Ida will go into this hoping to turn the people against Belos, only for Belos to turn the people against Ida. If he imprisons Ida once more, or any of the beloved cast, then it may seem like they have a point to their paranoia. If he simply looks down upon them, strip their words of their power, and let them run free, they'll just look like conspiracy nutjobs that won't be taken seriously. And because of my affinity for villains, I'd love a moment where Ida tries to make her grand entrance, only for Belos to reprimand her in front of the crowd, setting her as the prime example of those who try to defy him. Powerless, desperate, and lost. Something like that would just really cement the threat he possesses on a psychological level. As for the episode Elsewhere and Elsewhen, while I don't have a full-blown script in my head, I do have 2 thoughts on what this episode could entail. First, although it'd be a bit soon to revisit this location only 2 episodes after its introduction, Elsewhere and Elsewhen could focus on further exploring the in-between realm from yesterday's lie, which presented a lot of questions in its short screen time. Like, what the hell is that whispering voice? The title could reference how this dimension exists outside of Earth, the Boiling Isles, and their flow of time. Alternatively, and this is really due to the inclusion of Elsewhen, but I also think this could be a flashback-intensive episode, perhaps digging to the origins of Emperor Belos, a story that may have begun somewhere else outside the demon realm, of course, at an earlier point in time. It could deal with the Bat Queen and the mystery of whom she was a talisman for. It could deal with the Owl Beast and the entity that transformed it into a scroll, as seen in Ida's memories. It could even deal with the Age of Titans and King's Race. However it shakes out, I think we're in for a few surprises and a hefty amount of backstory for somebody, so color me excited. That's all the theorizing I have for this one. But as always, I want to hear your thoughts on these episode titles and the ideas I presented. Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments below, or find us over on Twitter and Instagram at Roundtable Vids and at Thoughts. And I gotta give a special thanks to JANKYBONES for another amazing thumbnail. When I saw the sketch for this one, I was already amazed, but the colors elevate it to a new level. I'm sure the Belos stands out there are pleased. But please give Bone a follow on their social media at BoneJanky alongside their YouTube channel. To keep the momentum of these videos going, please throw this one a like, subscribe if you haven't, share this video with another Owl House fan, and stay healthy out there.